go, homies. Let's go. Welcome to episode 18. Oh my goodness. I know I say this every week, but like seriously, 18 episodes in we are of the Tash Talks live show. I'm feeling truly grateful and I'm feeling truly proud of myself because let me just ref this up for you a bit. When it comes to, running a business, managing your team, being a mum, a busy mum, to Santi, to Penelope, to Apollo, to Athena, to have time then with your family and your friends and all of these things. It's really important in the pockets of time that I do have that I'm making use of it. And what I'm really proud of my consistency with this, because I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit afraid in regards to would I be able to create the time to dedicate to this, because it wasn't like it was just a one-off and I can just riff here and go in whenever I feel like it. Like, this is a commitment that I say to you near enough every single Friday. I'm here at 10 a.m. to deliver this for you. And I was scared. And what that leads me on to is kind of how I just want to start this straight off with is feeling scared. Okay. And the things that come up when we are feeling scared about something, because it's the unknown. And for me, it felt scary for the unknown of, would I be able to commit to this? Is this something that I'd actually be able to do and say that this is what I'm going to do every single week, but then would I actually be able to do that? And this leads me on perfectly to another thing that scared me and why I put it off for so long is the podcast. Okay. I can't tell you how many people have asked me, do I have a podcast? And then as soon as I said no, and they're like, well, why? And when is it coming out? Because I get it. And also people learn differently. Some people are visual, some people are auditory, like everybody's different. And not everybody can jump on and like watch this live or watch this on the replay, because it's a video. And sometimes whichever way, maybe you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, it's not always the easiest, is it? And that's exactly why I created an Audible podcast for my conscious coach girls, so that they had something really easy to jump into and tap into when something's come up for them and they feel triggered. They can literally just press play. They don't have to log in. They don't have to go into our Facebook group. We want to try and make this as easy as possible. Like, we're all busy. And the podcast is, how handy is it that you can just press play? There's nothing more annoying. I'm in programs where all the lives of how you learn is in a Facebook group, which is great. But when you're driving, you've got a TomTom on, it's not great, because you've got to choose. Are you picking the navigation to understand where you're going? Or are you going to pick the group program that you're trying to listen to? Like, you can't have both. So I used to find that really, really frustrating. So I was like, okay, there's another nudge from the universe. And you've got to practice what you preach. Okay. And I talk about stepping outside your comfort zone. I talk about doing something that scares you, and that's the edge. And it does. I'm going to be honest, it absolutely does. Why does the podcast scare me? The podcast scares me because the commitment. The podcast scares me because it's something that I've never done before. I've been on tons of other people's podcasts, but I just got to show up, riff, talk what's on my soul, and then leave again. It's the other bits, the big machine that goes behind it. What else scares me about it? I suppose, I suppose it's having that, it's the commitment, but also it's the like releasing off the pressure that I have never wanted and never done anything in my business that I feel that I've got to. And so when everyone was doing a podcast, I was kind of like the rebellion, like, no, I'm not going to do a podcast because everyone else is doing a podcast. I'm going to do a live show. I'm not just going to, jump on and do lives in my Facebook group. Like, it's going to be a freaking show. That's the way I work. So I kind of was a bit like, but I just get it. And if I enjoy it and I want to be stretched, and I've got to, for my unconscious mind to understand that this podcast is safe, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I've got to make the commitment. I've got to be consistent, because how the hell are you going to put content out on a podcast if I'm not going to be consistent? If I'm not actually sitting down and creating content and sitting down and creating time in my schedule to actually record this. And like, if there's a commitment where it goes out, which I don't know what the format's going to be, but if there was a format where it's like every single week or twice a week or whatever, I've got to commit to that. So I've got to sit down, create the content. I've got to sit down and mark in the time of when I'm actually going to sit and record. You've got to be ahead of the game. You can't just like blag this. You know, there's certain things that you can blag, but when it comes to a podcast and people are expecting that, you got to show up. So what happens if life happens and the nursery calls me and I've got to pick Santiago up, but I said that I was going to do the live show, or I said the podcast was going to go out. All of this wants to keep me safe. And I'm like, bullshit to the safety. If I've always gone against what's safe anyway, even though it's felt so uncomfortable. I'll tell you another thing that's just come up for me. And sorry, excuse the noise. Our next door neighbor is having their whole garden done. So you probably can hear the most annoying drilling sound ever. So apologies for that. What else am I afraid of? Okay, I'll be honest. I don't know. Is there a different type of truth that comes out? And the reason why I say this is I was listening to a podcast. If you haven't gone over to my Instagram and listened to or watched or listened to my Instagram live about Mark Wright being on Jamie Lang's podcast, he said the reason he doesn't do podcasts, and this like blew my mind, the reason he doesn't do podcasts and he'll just stick to like live shows is because he is conscious that he's on this. Like in front of me is the screen, it's me. I know I've got a big red sign saying live in the Facebook group. Like I'm very aware that it's live and you guys are watching, okay? With a podcast, it's not live. There's no camera unless we film it. So I don't know, does a whole different truth come out? I don't know. This is what I'm really intrigued to understand. Like I think I'm truthfully and honest and freaking raw and real when I do these shows. On my Instagram stories, I feel like I'm totally out, but I don't know. Maybe that's another thing I'm scared of. I'm like, oh, what if, I don't know, the truth comes out? What if I don't know. I don't even know. But that's probably another thing. But the biggest thing, I don't like being a beginner. I don't like doing something that I'm not good at. Haha, that's life, Tash. Yeah, you were a beginner at driving. You were a beginner at business. You're a beginner at mindset. You're a beginner being a mum. You're a beginner being a wife. You're a beginner at every freaking thing in your life. Like no one just comes out of their mum's womb and goes, wow, I'm so freaking great at all of these things, right? It's not how it happens. Think about when we walked, we started to crawl. We sat up for the first time. We didn't just like jump up and go, look at me strut. Of course we didn't. So yeah, I think they're the things of what has stopped me from doing the podcast. But guess what? It's freaking happening. I know I've been saying this, but it is. I'm approving the intro. There's a lot of moving parts to a podcast, okay? So it's not just something where you go, start a podcast, boom, right? I had to do a lot of research on the mic that I wanted. I then have, the intro is really important to me. So I want it to be, music's so important to me. So it's got to be a vibe. So it took me a long time to find somebody of who I wanted to create and compose the music. I then had to find all the inspo of all the different types of music. I'm now today making myself accountable. I am today writing the intro, like the actual copy, like, hey, welcome to blah, 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 whatever it is, right? And then I've actually got to create and script the outro. Then I've got to look at how the running of this machine works. Then I've got to delegate that to my team. Like there's just so many moving parts. But the point is, it's freaking happening. And I'm so freaking excited because I love doing this. Like this is an absolute vibe. But I just think it's going to bring a different element. Like I'm trying to just think now if that wasn't there, who am I going to be talking to? At least with this, you're talking to the camera. But hey, it's a vibe. We're going to freaking go for it. So yeah, all more details will come with that soon. What else is happening in Tash World? Okay, so we are we're launching Conscious Coach. My favorite baby ever. And something really exciting that I added to this round of Conscious Coach is the one-on-one aspect. I've never had this before in Conscious Coach. There's an upgrade, a VIP upgrade. And with this is 6 weeks one-on-one with me, which I don't actually offer. To work with me one-on-one is a minimum of 3 months. But I feel like this would really complement the program so well. So I decided to do it. So it's 6 weeks one-on-one with me. You have private one-on-one coaching calls. You have the Voxer support in between the calls, which is, I honestly think like it's the sweetest. It's like money well spent when you can have that in between. I know what it feels like to have my coach that I can dial into and be like, oh my goodness, this has come up for me. Oh my goodness, I'm struggling with this, or whatever it may be. So definitely that. Also, there is an in-person meetup, of course, because this is just what we do. And also you will get a spot on my business brunch that I'm going to be doing. So like, there is just so much juiciness in this. And I really understood that the program itself is potent as, okay, fill in the blank, beep, is potent as fuck. There we go, I said it. And I feel like this just adds a complete different layer to it, because some people want that extra one-on-one, and it may not be to actually look at your subconscious beliefs, because you'll be like, Tash, I've nailed that in Conscious Coach. This could be a real street strategy part to it, so where you actually get me in your business, eyes on your business, where you're going, okay, Tash, this is where I'm right now, so I want to get to, like, help me bridge the gap, you know. And what I do with my one-on-one clients is, I'm going to come to that in a moment, actually. Oh, I hope I don't forget it. Okay. But what I do with my one-on-one clients is I empower them to be leaders. I empower them to stand in that CEO role and be able to make those freaking powerful decisions to change the game in their business. Like, my one-on-one clients show up. My one-on-one clients like do the freaking work. My one-on-one clients are like hungry and passionate, and they're not being held back by bullshits and excuses, and they understand that there's work to do and we do it. And that's why they get to create the incredible results that they do. And I think what I wanted to do was, when I have clients come to work with me in any different capacity, that's then the majority of people then go, oh my God, like, how can I continue to work with you, Tash? Like, what's the next step? Can I keep going one-on-one? I've just done the group program. Like, what's your next one-on-one package? Or I've just done this. How can I have some more, Tash? Or we can do this and we can do that. And so what I thought would be incredible then is to be able to infuse some one-on-one into the group program experience, to give you that option for you to go, do you know what, Tash, I really wanted to work with you one-on-one. I want to do Conscious Coach. This is like the perfect kind of blend. And I felt like everything I do has got to feel in my gut and my soul like the right thing to do. Like, I never do anything because this is what I should do. If anything, I probably go against that. Anything I feel that I should do, I go against. I'm like, no, don't want to do that. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel good. Like, one-on-one in every single one of you that listening to this right now has got a different business. Even if you're coaches, you've all got different businesses. One-on-one is your highest touch point. It's the most closest proximity that they have with you. So you want to make sure it feels freaking good, and that you don't just do one-on-one for the sake of doing one-on-one, or as a good cash injection, or as a, you know, because you think that's going to get the highest results. That actually is a belief that you have. I don't truly believe that. I don't believe that there's a certain thing that will get you the most better results. I can only go from my personal experience, and with regards to like why I hire my coaches, and also why my clients hire me. For me, I love group programs. I love being in that kind of community of other like-minded women. I think I'm going to sneeze. Nope, it's gone. I love being in that community and connecting in with other badass women that get it. Like, I love that. I also learn so much, you know, when sometimes you go onto a call and you may not have an actual question for your coach, and then somebody else asks you something, or you experience their kind of shift, you're like, oh, I loved that. So that's what I love about that. But I also love so much, like, kind of in a selfish way, I want part of my coach to just be for me, and to be able to have her eyes, wisdom, knowledge, experience, soul on my business, or on my problem, or what the solution that I'm looking for. And also to bounce ideas. Like, sometimes I just do it to bounce ideas. And also sometimes I'm really fascinated, and this is what I love about my one-on-one clients, because they're exactly the same. I might not have a question about, especially at the level I probably don't have a lot of like questions of like, should I do this, like this. It's more of, okay, if you're in this situation and you were experiencing this, and this, how would you react to that? Or if my coach does something, I always go, what was the thinking behind that? I love that. Like, that is a CEO, like getting into that mindset of understanding not just the step by step, but understanding why your coach or mentor done that. Because then that empowers you to, with that understanding, whether you're doing this strategy or this strategy, it doesn't matter, because you understand the why behind it, which I think is the most potent part of it. Okay. Also, there's so many newbies in here, which I'm so excited for. So welcome to Soulful Badass Facebook group. It's full of the most incredible freaking women. we come here every single Friday at 10 a.m. unless something else can't be moved and it's got to happen, then we are here every Friday at 10 a.m. And it's called Tash Talks, the live show, because it's your chance to get your questions answered by in the most honest, real, raw way possible. I don't sugarcoat anything. All my opinions are my own. It's from my journey, from my experience, and I own it. So let's kick off. First question, really interested in how you built your courage muscle. I love the way you talk about it being a muscle. How long did it take? Great question. I feel like the way I like to explain courage is a muscle because it's something that grows. Like I said to you, we are all born being so courageous, so courageous. When I think about some of the things that Santiago does, he has no concept of, if I jump off this wall, I'm actually going to really hurt myself. He doesn't. He just literally gets himself up. He doesn't care. He's so brave. He's so courageous. We were all born this way. And then through years of conditioning, even if it's from our mums and dads and our caregivers, like trying to protect us, go careful of that. And I've got to be really, really aware, consciously aware of some of the things that I literally, as a mum, just want to keep him safe. So I go, oh, watch this, be careful. Oh, and I'm like, no, Natasha, let him be. Okay. Of course, to a degree. So we're all born with this. But then what happens through years of conditioning, we get kind of bashed down to then not believing in ourselves and not being courageous, because if we're courageous, it means that this could happen. If this happens, it means we're going to die. So the best way to build that muscle is to keep using it. You've got to keep using it. You've got to keep testing it. It's like, if you don't use it, you lose it. They use that example. I've heard it, I think, from my personal trainer. So if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So it's like having abs. And then if you're not continuously training, you're not eating the right food, then of course you're going to lose it. So it's exactly like, your courageous muscle. In order for you to keep being courageous, you've got to keep tapping into the things where you've got to have courage. They're going to scare you. It's going to be very, very different things. Mine is, for example, starting the podcast. That's tapping into my muscle again, because I'm in my comfort zone. I'm like, this is what I do. This is what I'm good at, blah, blah, blah. Learning Spanish, going back into lessons again, being in front of people. That fear of, I'm going to be the beginner again. Everyone's going to be really, really good at this. And I'm going to be the one that's going, sorry, don't understand that. Or my accent comes through. Or I'm not very good. But we still do it anyway. Investing into things that freaking scare me. Using my courageous muscle again when I'm probably doing 3 different things at the moment in regards to like learning. But that's okay. Like, I'm tapping into that muscle every single time. So, and I really don't think it's a length, because that's why I don't want to say, oh, it took me X amount of time, because I'm still doing it. And it will be something that you have got to continually tap into. There's always going to be an edge. It doesn't matter what level in business you're at. There's always going to be the next level, the next level, the next level. And guess what? When there's that next level, it requires a different level from you, a different identity, a different, the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling. Like you have got to match that. So you have got to, every single day, even if it's the smallest things, you've got to keep building that muscle. From working in this space for 5.5 years, what would you say is the biggest thing that you have seen that your clients need help with? Oh, great question. Also, I love, you're a very good listener, because I love the fact you put your detail into this question. Okay. What you've done there is very, very good. I'd be really interested if you're a coach. You've directed this question and made it very personal and shown me that I feel heard. That's how I feel. That's how you've made me feel with that question. So, and this isn't to put anybody else's question down. It's just landed with me. So I'm like, that's a very good question. That's what I just want to say. Okay. So what would you say is your biggest thing that you have seen in your clients that they need help with? 1 quadrillion, gazillion, pazillion, mahallion % is the mindset. Every single one of my clients that have come to me for different reasons, whether I've had a client come to me and they're just starting with an idea, or I've had a client come to me and they want to scale their business beyond 6 figures, or they want to increase their product suite, or they want to build on their confidence, or they really want to start, public speaking, whatever it may be that they've come to me for. every single one of them is what we work on is their beliefs, their subconscious mind. Like your limiting beliefs are like these pesky things that are always going to come up. So in all the years that I have been coaching, I am coaching the same things, but it's not the same things. I'm using the same format. I'm using the same approaches. My skill set is expanded. The way I coach has expanded. My dreamy ideal clients have expanded. Like there's so much that has expanded. But when I really, really knuckle this down to what it is that they need help with, it's always their unconscious mind, because those beliefs will keep you small, will keep you stuck, will keep you in your comfort zone, because that's what it's designed to do. You hear me talk about this day in, day out. If you don't follow me over on the gram, come and follow me over. Tasha Clark Coaching. It will come up in being visible, receiving and holding and attracting money, feeling safe, regulating your nervous system, being able to understand that it's part of the process, trusting. This limiting belief has come up that you can't do this, you can't make this money, you cannot have this impact, you're going to have to sacrifice this, there's no way you're going to have the time to do this product suite, there's no way you're going to be able to create this massive effect on 10 people like you do with one people. Like these are all bullshit box of beliefs. That's what they are. So with every single one of my clients, whether you're coming into Conscious Coach, whether you're working with me one-on-one, whether you're doing a business intensive, like all of my clients in all these years, it's the one thing that I help with them of all. And then we sprinkle the strategy on, right? But it always, always starts with the unconscious, for sure. Great question. Okay. Why do you think people generally pick strategy over working on their mindset? Wow, these questions are great, guys. Why do I think that people pick strategy over working on their mindset? I think that they are thinking from a practical, logical point of view, as in maybe if you learn something, it's a skill, like maybe a tangible skill. I think it's years and years of conditioning. You go on social media and it's very heavy, the messaging of strategy. So I think that has a part to play in it. I think that people being scared to do the inner work has a part to play in it. I also think people have this idea that they can transform their own mindset on their own. I know that was me. That stopped me from working with my first coach, because I was like, surely it can't be this hard. I'm just going to read some more books. I'm going to listen to some more podcasts. I'm going to watch every free YouTube video there is, but nothing changed. It was only till I actually hired my coach that actually could understand my limiting beliefs and be able to shift that through me. I was like, oh my goodness, I would never have been able to do that on my own. So do I think that people prioritize strategy over, because they think, well, I can't do the strategy on my own, the mindset stuff I can do? Yeah, I do think that. I think that it's easier. It's easier to learn a strategy because it's something that is outside yourself. And if you think the problem that you have is outside yourself, the solution is outside yourself, when really we know it's actually within ourselves. And because guess what's going to happen? You're going to learn the damn thing. You're going to invest into the strategy. You're going to learn it. Then you're going to show up. You're going to sell. You're going to implement this strategy, correct? But then what? And what happens when it doesn't work? Or what happens when you don't get the outcome you do? Or what happens that you don't actually show up because you don't have the confidence to? Or you have these limiting beliefs going, oh my goodness, freaking hell, I just invested X amount of money into this strategy and it doesn't work. Or I can't even show up for it. Or I don't have the time for it. Or that's because you haven't worked on the unconscious mind. So that's why the soul and the strategy it's a blend. You know, you've got to work on that. You can't bypass this. You can't bypass the inner work. You can't just redirect yourself straight to the strategy. Like, that's not how it works. So you will not be able to execute the strategy if you don't already have like the confidence in yourself. You haven't mastered those unconscious beliefs. You don't truly believe it's safe to be visible and to have the money, then it's absolutely not going to work. And this was me at the start of my business And this also was me throughout my business. And very recently, last year, was when I hit this block once again. And I hit this block as in stuff was going on in my personal life that was out of my control, that then was flowing into my business. And I felt like nothing was working. That's how I felt. And I invested huge amounts of money into different strategies, different business coaching, like thinking that was the answer. I thought the answer was outside of me. And guess what happened? I joined the programs, I hired the coaches, to really kind of do that work on myself. No, sorry, not to do the work on myself, like to do the actual strategy work, and it didn't work. And this isn't anything to do with the coaches. It isn't anything to do with the programs. They're incredible. The other people got amazing results. I didn't. Why? Because I was the problem. And if I was the problem, how the hell did I think I was going to serve it with another strategy? Hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? I can now look back and be like, what? Why the fuck did anybody shake me? Why didn't anybody go? And they were, they were. But I wasn't believing it. I was like, no, this is it. This will fix it. This will fix it. And of course it didn't. And it was only till I'd done that work on myself. It's only till I discovered the healing in what was going on in the unconscious mind, what was going on actually inside, and where areas of my life I was actually self-sabotaging because of it. And I was so in that, repetitive mindset of, this isn't working, I'm out of control, I'm not good enough, because if I was making X amount of money, I'd be able to make that problem that's not money related go. Or this is my fault because I'm not successful enough, because if I was successful enough, I'd be able to do this, this, and this, and this, right? It doesn't make logical sense, but at the time it made absolute sense to me. It was how I was feeling. So can you understand now feeling that way? Even if you don't even are not feeling it to that level, and are feeling it, to this level, a little bit more surface level, the answer is not going to be in the strategy. And I'm a business and mindset coach. Take it from someone that knows. Take it from someone that's so freaking experienced in this. Take it from someone that I will give 2 clients the exact same strategy, but I will know if one hasn't worked, if we haven't done the unconscious work, and we have with this one, who's going to get the results. And even if they did, even if you did get results, okay, do you believe that you can hold them? I had a client come to me, one of my one-on-one clients, that had got great results working with another coach. And she came to me and she said, Tash, listen, I'll be making X amount of money each month, but I don't feel safe. I feel so scared that I'm going to lose it all. I feel so scared the money's in my account that I'm going to wake up and it's gone. The money hasn't made me feel safe. I know how to make money, but I don't know how to hold it. And I don't know, more importantly, how to feel safe. That's why the work's so important. And I could relate so much, because last year I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe. Even when I was getting successes, even when things were going good, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe in myself. I didn't feel safe in the results. I didn't feel safe in the future. I didn't feel safe with how things were, right? I felt completely unsafe. And this is why I'm so passionate about this work. The inner work is so freaking important. And people kind of like, mindset just kind of has this real fluffy feel to it, and it's freaking not. It is not. The mindset work, the inner work, the soul work is the hardest part of business. Let me tell you that. It's the hardest. It's the most challenging. You're going to have to go deep. You're going to have to face those fears. You're going to have to feel it. You are going to have to feel it. Okay. You've got to do the work. But trust me, is it freaking worth it? Absolutely. Will things then, when you marry that with a bespoke strategy that feels so good to you, get you incredible results? Absolutely. Will you be so grateful to yourself and give yourself a pat on the back when you've done it? Absolutely. And I can't praise this enough. I cannot praise this enough. And that's why, if you're in this space and you're wanting to work on your soul and you're wanting to work on the strategy and marry it together so that you can create and build and scale this business beyond your wildest dreams, then one-on-one would be perfect for you. So send me a DM. Let's have a chat. Funny enough, the next question is, what does it look like working one-on-one with you? Well, apart from freaking magic and incredible, which, it's been quite a theme actually in today's show, but it's about the unconscious mind work. That happens first. That happens absolutely first. And then what I do is we create a strategy that's bespoke to you and your business. This is really, really important. Not all my clients are the same. Not one of, every single one of my clients are so freaking different. So why would I give them a cookie cutter strategy of what they actually need to do? What we do is we work together and we see their strengths. And I mean their strengths in a way of what they actually enjoy to do. Like someone may be like, well, I'm scared of going and doing a podcast because of this, and this. Well, if they're beliefs and blocks, then we can change that. Okay. If it's something that like, actually, that's just not where my energy is. It's just, I love to write. I've got one client that actually loves to write blogs, right? That to me is not my vibe. Like that's not something that I actually really love to do. I'm a talker. I'm an audio person. I'm someone that loves to do a live rather than like type it all out, because I actually type as I speak. And my spelling, punctuation, and grammar, it is not perfect. So that's like another kind of thing that layers to it. So I don't make sure that my clients are doing, I don't want to create more Tashas, right? There's only one Natasha Clark. There's only one Tony, Nicola, Sarah, Suzanne. Like there's only one of you. So why would I want cutouts, mini Natashas running around? That's boring, right? I want to create and empower the best version of you. That's what I want. So if you are in your flow on your podcast with no cameras and it's just you and that microphone, boom. If it's you and you're just like typing out, boom. If it's you and it's going live, boom, right? Whether it's doing a live launch or an evergreen, or it doesn't matter. The point is the strategy needs to be created bespokely to you and your business. And I think that's the power in working with someone one-on-one, because you get that leverage, you get that support. So yeah, so if that lands with you and you're like, absolutely. And also what I empower my clients to do is build a business on their terms. Not everybody wants to work 5 days a week. Some of my clients don't like to do nights. Some of my clients love to work weekends. Some of my clients have a family and don't want to work weekends or don't want to work nights. Some of my clients want to have a freedom lifestyle. So for example, one of my clients has a week on calls and the week off she doesn't. Another one of my clients works for 3 weeks and has one at the end of the week. The end of the month, she has the last week of the month. There we go. We get there in the end. She has off every single month. Okay. So you've got to be making sure that you're running a business, you're building a business, you're creating a business that actually fits to your lifestyle. Okay. That's really, really important. And that's what we have to factor in when we're looking at that. When does the early bird pricing finish for Conscious Coach? It will finish the end of this month, which I'm really excited. And then the price goes up by £500. Yes. Would you honestly say that you would be where you are today without all the investments in coaching that you have done? Would you honestly say that you would be where you are today without the investments in coaching you've done? No, absolutely not. Now, this is my personal opinion. There's no way in high hell that I would be where I am today if I didn't invest into the coaches and mentors that I've done. Why? I had no freaking idea what I was doing when I started. No idea. I knew I had this dream, this goal, this big vision of how I wanted to help millions of women. But I was a model that had started a business that wasn't successful. I was in debt. I had no idea what an algorithm was, a Facebook ad, like none of these. A landing page, like what? I absolutely no idea. So when you have no idea about something, you can get so fixated on the how, but how's this going to happen? And to me, I needed to learn that. So I invested into my coach to understand that. And I've always done that. If I don't know something, I will invest to learn how to do that, or pay somebody to do that. And I now see the value in support. Just knowing that I have that support that I can tap into on Voxer, just knowing that I have that call with my coach, just knowing that makes me feel safe, makes me feel supported, makes me feel served, right? So it's like if let's say you follow your favorite coach, mentor on Instagram, okay? And they're talking about the importance of selling every single day. And you're like, yep, I've got it. Yep, okay. Yep, got to sell every day. Yep, but how? Yeah, but how? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy what they're doing. Okay, surely that's the how, that's the strategy. So then you do, and then you don't get the results that you desire. It's like, and it's like, stop wasting your time trying to figure this out alone. Stop wearing this badge of honor that, you're more successful because you've done it all on your own. No, like If you need help with something, you want the support, leverage it. And now everything that I know, and I am still a beginner. There is still so much for me to learn. I love it. There's new stuff that's coming out all of the time that I'm always wanting to educate myself and learn myself from. But if I didn't invest into those coaches and mentors, then I wouldn't know what I know now. I wouldn't be able to actually help my clients do the same. But also, I wouldn't have understood what it's like also to be a coachee. So this is me talking to you coaches out there and you consultants. Like, how do you know what it's like to be on the other end if you've never actually been on the other end? How can you really talk about investing if you've never actually invested? How can you really talk about being scared and fear if you've never felt scared or never felt fear? How can you really talk about what it feels like to not know what you're doing if you've always knew what you were doing? It just doesn't feel congruent to me. It doesn't feel like that's not going to land with me. I'm not going to feel that trueness in your energy. How can you talk about money if you've never been in that situation to talk about that particular subject about money? Okay. Like I just feel that you've got to be authentic to who you are, what you stand for, what you do. And if you are a coach and consultant and you don't believe in investing, then what? Like, what do you say? You're on Instagram and you go, yeah, don't believe in investing, but invest into me. Here's X amount of money to work with me. I've never done it, but it's like, what? Right? It just doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. It's like me talking about the importance of rewiring your unconscious mind. And you're like, yep, I get it. Yep, Tash is talking about this. Yep, I know it. She's right. The limiting beliefs, they're all coming up. Yep. I talk about feeling safe. You're like, yep. I'm talking about regulating your nervous system. You're like, yeah. And then you're like, yeah, but I don't know how to do this. Well, then that's why I offer you Conscious Coach. That's why I say, come and learn these things, learn these skills. These skills won't just help you now. They will be that return investment that always keeps selling out for you, always keeps cashing in for you. The return investment isn't just what you're going to feel right now. It's going to have a continuous knock-on effect to you, your business, your heart, your family, your bank balance, your energy, your motivation, who you are, what you stand for, your creativity, your intuition. Like, this is a one-stop fit all for this program, right? And that's why what it is that we do. Like, you've got to think about, in whatever it is that you're selling, whatever it is that you're offering, you've got to talk about it. You've got to sell it. And if you don't like selling, you need to get over this. Like, this is a limiting belief that's coming up for you, because your client's not just going to come and knock on your door. It's not happening. So I don't know who you're listening to think that, well, if I just meditate for 30 hours, or if I just learn another strategy, then it will come. But you will never be able to bypass these limiting beliefs. They're always going to come up. Always, always, always. Even when I've done the work, even when as a mindset coach, my limiting beliefs came up massively to bite me on the ass and literally want to swallow me last year. And that is why I'm so passionate about it. That is why this freaking work works. That is why when I'm on podcasts with other successful entrepreneurs, my biz besties, when I'm surrounded with other leaders, experts, the one thing that I see as the common denominator is they have all worked on their freaking beliefs. And they all say to me, their beliefs come up all the time. You know, I got a friend who's, multi-7, another friend 8-figure, another friend 6-figure, another friend multi-6-figure. What do they all do? They all work on their beliefs. They all hire people to help them break those glass ceilings. So lean in, freaking feel it, and be like, right, I need to take the action. I need to work on me. I don't want anybody. And if you're listening to this, like, hear me with this. I do not want anybody to go through what I went through last year. And I can't stop life from happening to you. I can't stop personal shit coming up and wanting to cripple you and swallow you. I can't stop that. But what I can do is empower you with the tools to be able to deal with that. Because something that has happened very, very recently, that in my personal life, it's giving me shivers talking about it, could have knocked me for 6. Absolutely. Could have wiped me out. But due to what I learned last year, due to what I went through, due to the tools that I have with our team being able to freaking be so aware of my unconscious mind, that I was able to deal with it. And another truth that I'm coming out with, something that has come up for me this week, a limiting belief that has come up for me, that has literally been like a breakthrough with me, is like, oh my goodness, didn't even think this was a thing, and it's a thing. And I'm working through it right now with RRT. So there you go. There's my truth. Oh my, do I love this? I love talking to you guys. I love inspiring you. I love motivating you. And I also love giving you the kick up the arse sometimes. You know, this is why I'm straight talking Tash Talks, because sometimes we need to hear it. Sometimes we need that our coach to call us out on the bullshit and pull us out in the victim mode and get us out of this way of thinking habitually where it's not going to happen, not going to be able to do this, I can't do this, blah, 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 blah. This is what this was about. This is what it is about. So go and have the most incredible rest of your day and take freaking action. Like, stop sitting, waiting and hoping it's going to happen, and actually go and take the action, which is going to make it happen. Peace out. A-Town down. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.